South Carolina Congressman Trey Gowdy, chairman of the House Oversight Committee with me now. Sir, good morning to you. There's been a lot of news from the Hill that I'll touch on in a moment, but what do you tell Americans who think that Congress does not act, be it on mental health or guns or pick your topic?
Well, the first thing I would say to this generation of children is how sorry I am you have witnessed school shootings, mall shootings, concert shootings. There is no place that seems safe in our society. So as devastating as the loss of life is, the loss of innocence for this generation of children, I don't know anyone who would not pass a bill today that would prevent the next mass shooting. But to Senator Rubio's point, you got to find out how he accessed the gun. You got to find out whether or not there was a data point at some point in his background where someone could have reported it, whether or not he accessed the gun legally or illegally. Usually at about this time, Bill, we hear about the gun show loophole. Fine, close the gun show loophole, but how many mass killings have resulted from guns purchased at gun shows? So my criticism of the Obama administration was we had an 8-year decline in gun prosecutions. My objective is to prosecute the person before he takes a life, enforce these laws for which the Obama administration said there was no jury appeal. I get it. I used to prosecute them. There's no jury appeal in prosecuting a prohibited person. There is jury appeal in a murder case, but our goal should be to avoid the murder. So if you can show me a law that will prevent the next mass killing, go ahead and sign me up for it.
And I think people listening at home would say, okay, sir, then once the facts emerge, the topic itself is forgotten and we move on to the next thing, or the next battle or debate, or, again, pick whatever topic you want to on the Hill. But there doesn't seem to be movement toward protecting America's kids. That's a strong indictment.
And I would respectfully say to them, I think there has been some movement in the last 12 months. We were very clear to Attorney General Sessions that we're disappointed that the gun prosecutions went down for 8 years. So before we begin to advocate for new laws, I think it is eminently fair to say, how are we doing enforcing the ones we currently have? There are long lists of prohibited people from possessing even a single bullet, Bill, much less an AR-15, a single bullet. Long list of prohibited people, including those who have been adjudicated mentally ill. How are we doing enforcing the current laws? Because if all we're going to do is pass another law that an attorney general and the U.S. attorneys are not going to enforce, I don't know how that makes people safer.
No. Sir, we've got a lot going on, as you can imagine. I know you've got a lot going on, too. The immigration debate on the Senate side, entering the House phase as well. About 36 hours ago, you broke news that you're going to open up an investigation into Rob Porter and his access to the White House. What have you learned, or what do you want to learn now?
I want to understand the interim security clearance process and why there are so many folks in that interim status, because necessarily that means the investigation was not as fulsome as it should have been. That's the classified information security clearance part of it. I also want to know, as a former domestic violence prosecutor, how in the world someone with credible allegations of domestic violence could be hired for any position in government, especially the White House, separate and apart from any security clearance issue.
Apparently 2 others have since resigned from their positions within their connection to the executive branch. Have you been given assurance from the White House that they have done enough background checks sufficiently to make sure that there are no others who could find themselves in a similar situation?
Haven't yet. We wrote them yesterday. I drafted another letter last night, actually, about the interim security clearance process and who's in it and whether or not you've received any derogatory information. My first questions are going to be to the FBI, because I want to fully know who knew what when and who did you communicate it with, and then we'll direct the inquiries to the White House. But I'm going to start with the FBI.
Sir, thank you for your time. A couple of tender topics today, and I appreciate you coming back with us here.
Yes, sir.
Trey Gowdy.